Hello stamping friends, Jackie Ballheis from Clomp and Stampers. I have so much to share with you today, a ton of tips. We're going to use Quite Curvy. Now this is a brand new stamp set that will be in the January mini catalog, but it's available now. So if you want to get it early, it's also paired right now during this month while supplies last with another stamp set that is a Christmas stamp set that kind of coordinates with the dies that go with that. That's a limited one. Now you won't be able to get that after December, but this one will be available. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't get the Christmas one. I had enough Christmas stuff. So I got just the stamp set and the dies, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. We're going to do a ton of coloring and share a ton of coloring tips with Stampin Blends today, as well as, what do I have? 8 cards, I think, to show you with this. Now, I'm going to make one. I'm going to make the complete card, but then the other 7 I'm going to just share with you, and I've actually put them together into a free tutorial that if you purchase the stamp set bundle from me, I'll give you that tutorial. So you'll have all the cutting dimensions, recipes, colors, supplies, everything to make all 8 of the different cards that I have to share with you. But today, like I said, I will make the one for you. So that's enough chit chat. Let's flip this camera down. I got so much to share. We better get going. Hold on a sec. Okay, let's just start out by taking a peek at this Quite Curvy bundle. So we have our dies and our stamp set. Now, if you want to see the other stamp set that coordinates with these dies, make sure to use the link down in my video description, and it will take you over to my website and it'll show you the other stamp set plus some special designer series paper that are both a limited release and won't be available after December. But this will be. So you can get it now, or really if you want to wait, you can get it later. But if you get it now, you're going to get my free tutorial. Now we'll chat a little bit more about that at the end. Let's set this aside because today we're going to share lots of tips for Stampin' Blends, for die cutting with the Stampin' Emboss machine, and all kinds of things for putting these cards together. So let's dive in here. I have a piece of Whisper White. Now when you're using Stampin' Blends, you want to make sure you use the Whisper White, either the regular or the thick, either one works. And my piece here, I believe it's 5 by 3 1/4. So check those measurements to be positive over on the blog post. Again, that link's just down in the video, so you'll be able to find that real easy. Now I have the vine or ivy or whatever you want to call this one. And we're going to start out with this one by stamping it kind of off my paper here. We want one to kind of go that way. And you're going to see why here in a second. And then let's do another one that's going to come down this way. So we've got that going on our Whisper White. Photopolymer sticks to your paper sometimes when you pull it up. That's why that did that. Then let's go ahead and use the word hello. That's, again, all of these stamps are in that same stamp set. We're just going to put that down in the bottom. Now let's do all our stamping, then we can get rid of this black ink pad here so I don't end up putting it, something in it that I shouldn't. Okay, we have, we'll just call this a flower spray or sprig. I don't know what you call it. We're going to stamp this on this piece. Now this is just scrap, okay, so we don't need a size here. We're going to color that and cut it out. And I'm also going to stamp a couple of the birds on here so I can show you how to color those. I think that's all the stamping for right now. So let's put this aside and let's grab our Stampin' Blends. So we're going to start over here with the ivy. And for this one, I am using Granny Apple Green. Now, I always like to use the light and the dark together. They're sold as light and dark pairs, so you might as well use them together. Now, there's really no right or wrong way. I always tell people, you need to figure out your best way to color. Some go dark to light, some go light to dark. I'm a light to dark person. So I like to start with my light, and I'll take one piece at a time. You don't want this to dry too quickly on you because then it won't blend as nice. So I'll do one leaf and then I'm going to come with my dark. And I don't know, just out of habit, I tend to go around the left side. Now, if you're a true artist and, really want to get more of an artistic, you'll be able to kind of tell where your light's coming from and shade that way. To me, I look at these as just leaves that are probably all different angles, and every leaf out in nature is going to look a little bit different. So I just like that dark on the left. And sometimes I'll come down around that way. Again, just trying to really get multiple colors in these leaves to give them that more dimensional look. Now some, like some of these little ones, I might just color with the light and leave them. And then here, again, you can see the difference there. We'll come back with that dark, come back with the light. You can layer these colors as much as you want. You can even layer light on light, and then part of it's going to get a little darker. But again, it's all about just getting some different shades in there. So I'm not going to color all of that for you because that would be kind of a boring video. I just wanted to show you those tips. Now, this piece, we're going to cut this out. And again, I don't think I'll color the whole thing, but I'll give you a couple of little tips here. We're using Mango Melody. I like the color. Let's do the big one here of this yellow. It's just a nice, deep, bright yellow. And kind of the same thing. We put light down, and then I'm going to come and put a little dark kind of on each side, maybe a little at the bottom, a little there, and no right or wrong. Okay, just want it a little bit because we don't want it to be all one solid color. Come back with the light, blend it out, and you'll get that different dimension in those flowers. So if I was going to do this whole card for you, again, I'd color all of this. We'd color all of that. And finally, I want to talk about these birds. I love robins here in Michigan. Can't wait for spring, which is a long ways off right now. But I wanted to figure out an easy way to make these look like robins. So we are using pumpkin pie blends, light and dark, and also light and dark of crumb cake. So what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to start with light. And I'm going to come up here to his tail. And I'm going to fill in his wing, his tail, and this piece. Just go by the lines there. And then we'll take our dark. And again, this one for up here, we're going to fill in almost all of this. We want the top part to be darker. See how I left just a little bit lighter there? And that's just to get, a little bit of different color in there. Okay, come back with light. And again, we want that part dark. Now, for down in the bottom of the bird there, what I did, and I played around for a long time to get the color combination I liked. I took my dark, okay, this is kind of going against what I told you earlier, dark pumpkin pie, and I'm going to put a real small line, as small as you can get there, down on the bottom. And then we're going to take the light one and kind of go over that. I'm going right over it, blending it out a little bit. And then we're going to come back with our light crumb cake and go right over the top of that and color in the rest of the bottom of our bird. Go right over that orange, blend it out. Now, if you want that to be a little bit more orange, come back with the light. Put a little more in there, a little more of that. And that is how I colored this to look like a robin. Now, before we kind of move on, remember with your blends, when you put those tops on, make sure you hear the pop. There you go. You should really put these on when you're done using them. I usually leave them open, the two colors I'm using, but keep them covered. That'll make them last a long time. And also make sure you store your blends flat. Don't store them like that. Store them flat. That'll make them last the longest. Okay, we kind of have all of our parts and pieces done here, so I think it's time to go ahead and put the card together. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our Stamp and Emboss machine and our dies that coordinate with Quite Curvy here. So there's lots of fun dies, and we are going to start out using this one, which is going to cut our piece, I want to say in half, but that's not really in half. So thin dies, you always start with platform 1. Instructions are here just in case you forget them. The thin die adapter goes on top of that. And then a cutting plate. Now you will see my cutting plate is quite worn, but it has not warped hardly at all. I know some people complain that their plates warp. My little trick is when I use 2 of these, I always use on the bottom the same one. Now I might have goofed a couple of times, but this one is always the one on the bottom that takes all the abuse of the cutting. But what I do is every time I use it, I flip it over. I'll cut something, I'll flip it over. I cut something, I flip it over. And that's what keeps it pretty flat. Now, eventually this will get pretty cut up and I'll just replace it with a new one. They will wear out. Sometimes you'll start picking up some of these marks on your cardstock. That means it's probably time for a new one. Now, I have also gotten questions recently about the magnetic plate. Stampin' Up! Did release the magnetic plate that goes with the Stampin' Cut machine, and there was some issues with it. So it's not available anymore. They pulled it off of the market. If you did order a magnetic plate and you're having problems with it, make sure if you ordered it from me, contact me. If you've ordered it from a different demonstrator, make sure you contact them. And Stampin' Up! Is offering something for those. So hopefully they'll get it figured out and we'll have a magnetic plate again sometime soon. Oh, okay, back to what we're cutting. What I'm going to do is take this curvy piece here, and when you look at the back, you'll see this is the cutting edge, okay, right here, and then we have these little dots. So if you want the dots to show, you want to make sure your cutting edge is out here, because then the dots will be on the piece I cut. I don't know, that is so hard to explain. I hope that made somewhat sense. So we're going to just go ahead and lay it on that, and then we're going to put the other cutting plate right on top. Okay, we'll grab the machine. My camera space here doesn't have a lot of space, so usually I kind of go out of view of you guys, but we'll see if this stays in here. And then we'll go ahead and we'll run this through. I think my table might be a little shaky as well, so let's go ahead and do that, and then we're going to set that aside. We'll bring it back. Sorry, I feel like I keep reaching in front of you there. And voila! Check it out. Look at that fun cut you get on there. Now for this particular card, I'm going to use both of these pieces. You know, you can cut this off and, you know, use one piece or the other, but you'll see why. We want both of these. Now, we're going to use a little bit of magic of TV here. So let's use this one because I've already colored the whole thing for you. So there's that piece. The other thing that I did was I colored the complete flowers and I cut it out because there's a die for that. And then there's also a die for this little branch. So we cut out a couple of those pieces as well. You know, before we stop with the blends, another little tip here. Promise this card will eventually all go together. This crinkle ribbon is awesome to color with your Stampin' Blends. You know, I know our ribbons don't come in a lot of our colors, but if you get a white, you use your Stampin' Blends, and check this out. You can color your ribbon to whatever color you want. And you're going to see a couple other ones that I've done. And that quickly, we've got whatever color ribbon you want. Now, I did cheat. Again, power of TV. There's my little bow. So I think we're ready to put a card together here. Let's push these aside. And we are going to take our liquid adhesive here. And we're going to put it on this piece. And I have a piece of the Designer Series paper. This is just from our regular color groups. You know, this might be Daffodil Delight, even though I use mango for my flowers. So we're going to go like so. And then we're going to put adhesive on our other piece. Now, this piece, because I cut it a little bit smaller than I normally would to layer, I'm able to, after I cut them, just move it over so we get this nice pretty strip going down the middle like that. Now let's see, we need to move that up just a little bit. Okay, then we're going to layer that onto a piece of white. Now, I'm kind of a perfectionist with some things. You will see here, my white actually comes off that yellow just a little bit. You know, that's normal. When we cut pieces of cardstock and we're cutting things to layer and we think they're going to be the exact same size, you know what? They never are. They're going to be off a little bit. So what I like to do after I've layered something like this, we'll just take the cutter and we'll trim along there. Now, that's nice and flush. You know what? We need a little cutting up here at the top as well. There we go. Now everything is nice and flush, and this should layer really nice onto our black. And again, because we cut a little bit off, we need to trim a little bit off of this. You know what? Let's glue it down first, and then we'll do it. So now you're kind of seeing the true me when I'm cutting cardstock. So we'll put that up towards the top. I like that nice, even black border all the way around. But see, I thought I had it cut right, but since we cut a little bit off, which is totally okay, because now we're just going to bring our cutter back here, and we'll trim off just a little bit more, just a teeny bit here. There we go. So now we're pretty even all the way around. Then this piece we will add to the front of our card, like so. Eventually we'll have a whole card here. You know, this is one of those cards I feel like we just had lots of parts and pieces, but I really wanted to show you the coloring. So we could stop there, but we got more pieces to put together. So we have our little flowers here. Now what I'm going to do is I want these sprigs just kind of sticking out like so. One going that way, and then maybe one kind of like so. So what I do, the easiest way for me is to just lay them where I want them. Take a little piece of Scotch tape here. It's a little bit big because we don't want it sticking out. And we're going to just kind of stick them down like so. Does that work? That works, I think, to fit. Sure, that'll fit. Now I have a little bit of tape sticking out, so we'll just kind of bend that back, or we can use our scissors and we can trim that tape off of there. Now let's go ahead and stick some dimensionals on the back of this. I think the regular, yep. I didn't know if I needed to grab minis here or if these would fit. I think they fit. We'll see if one fits down here as well. It should. Huh, boy, was that lucky. Okay, so there is our flower, and we're going to just go ahead and kind of decide where to put this. Let's see, I kind of like it right there. So we're kind of layering the flowers over that ivy. And then remember our little bow that I pre-tied? We're going to go ahead and grab the glue dots. There we go. And we can stick that bow right on a glue dot. This is the easiest way to put bows down. We'll just add our little bow there. And there you go. There is your card and a whole bunch of tips using Quite Curvy. Now, this stamp set and dies is so fun. And like I said, I have a tutorial for you if you purchase this bundle from me. So let's go ahead and look at the other cards that are part of the tutorial. So the tutorial will have the written instructions and dimensions for this card, plus these other ones. So here you can see all of these use just products out of the bundle. So there's our little robin, and you can see there's a lot of great greetings in here. This little bow I colored with the Stampin Blends as well. We got Flirty Flamingo there. I also added a few little rhinestones on several of those. You can see those. This one I tried to make it a little bit more masculine looking. You know, there's a die to cut out that complete ivy as well. So love these dies. Here we kind of split it the same way we did over on this first one. That's it. You're 1 in a million. That's put together like we showed you. Hooray for you. Lots of coloring. Now you certainly could use these images and not color them as much, or color in a different way. I love my blends. You could watercolor or colored pencils or whatever you prefer. But here's another, this edge is a little bit different than the dotted one. So that's another one of those curvy lines you can make. And then these I made two, kind of the same, but using different papers. So again, we just kind of split that, but how fun is that for just, you know, an any day card? And you could use absolutely any designer series paper for that. So how to get the tutorial? Hop over to my website. Again, there's the link to the blog post. That's right down in the video description. Take you to the website. It'll have all the details on the card I made today, as well as information on how you can get the free tutorial if you purchase this bundle from me. Or if you already have it, because I know some of you guys probably do, because it's been out for a little while now. The tutorial is also available over there for sale. So if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me. I'm here to help you with all your stamping needs. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator already and would like a Stampin' Up! Catalog, you can request one right over there on my blog as well. So I think that's all I have for you today. I hope you love this Quite Curvy bundle as much as I do, and will enjoy making cards like I do. Great all seasonal. You know, these dies will also be perfect to use with other stamp sets. You don't have to combine them just with the flower and ivy that comes with that stamp set. I mean, the dies are going to be awesome with other stamps as well. So until I stamp with you again, have a stamp happy day.